A very good morning and welcome back. You're watching World News and I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. Overnight, Russia launched another wave of airstrikes against several regions of Ukraine. 13 people, including a 5-year-old, were injured in a strike on the Sumy region, while authorities in Odessa deal with the aftermath of a drone attack, which injured one person and set fire to civilian buildings. As stated by the governor of the Sumy region, Oleg Krychorov, a fire broke out at the scene of the drone strike in Putin. Meanwhile, the mayor of Sumy said that a Russian guide bomb attack damaged a high-rise apartment building, shattering windows and destroying balconies. At the same time, Russia attacked the southern port city of Odessa. As stated by the chairman of the region's military administration, Oleg Kipper, drones struck an administrative building, setting nearby cars on fire and smashing windows in the neighborhood. Information about the victims of the attack are still being clarified as rescue services are battling the aftermath of the strike. The Russian army also struck the Ukrainian city of Kramatorsk in the Donetsk region. As stated by the head of the regional military administration, Alexander Horanchenko, a guided bomb hit a residential building, killing a 10-year-old and injuring 5 other people. The Russian bomb hit a high-rise residential building, sparking a fire. Rescue services are still working at the site of the bombing, clearing debris and treating wounded civilians. The overnight attack resulted in the 3rd death to occur in the Donetsk region in the past 24 hours. According to the head of the Donetsk Regional Military Administration, over the past day, Russians killed 3 residents of the region and left 12 more people in the region injured. In his Monday night address, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stressed the importance of strengthening the country's air defenses. He also announced that a meeting between delegations from Kyiv and Moscow is planned for Wednesday.
All day today, emergency services have been dealing with the aftermath of the Russian strike on our cities, our Ukrainian communities. Various regions, from Kharkiv and Sumy to Ivano-Frankivsk. There was a strong attack on Kiev. A significant number of Shahed drones and missiles were shot down. And every such wave of Russian strikes reminds us of 2 things. Air defense, we need more systems, more coverage of our country with protection. Also, our long-range strikes on Russia. If Putin is obsessed with Shahed drones and terror, they must be left without logistics. I discussed with Rustem Umerov preparations for a prisoner exchange and another meeting in Turkey with the Russian side. Umerov reported that the meeting is planned for Wednesday.
Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andrii Sybiha met with his French counterpart Jean-Noel Barrot on Monday. During a joint press conference, Sybiha said that the upcoming peace negotiations in Istanbul should involve both Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Vladimir Putin, as well as the President of Turkey, the United States, and EU officials. Barrot also added that a ceasefire in Ukraine is a precondition for the talks to commence.
It is important that future talks, once the dates are agreed, are specific, that the other side has the mandate to discuss the most important issues, such as ending the war and achieving a ceasefire. So far, we have not noted this. Therefore, in order to be able to discuss such strategic issues, one of the proposals is to hold a meeting at the level of Zelenskyy and Putin, with the participation of, this would be very beneficial, U.S. President Trump, European leaders and President Erdogan. I have asked my teams to resume work so that we can build an even more massive sanctions package if Vladimir Putin does not agree to a ceasefire that will allow for proper negotiations to take place. In light of these historic decisions by the European Union, everyone must understand that when its security interests are threatened, the European Union reacts. And with a GDP, as you pointed out, Andrii, with wealth 10 times that of Russia, everyone must realize that the European Union will not let itself be pushed around.
The new Ukrainian Prime Minister has announced she will approach the International Monetary Fund and the United States for additional loans. Speaking with Bloomberg, Yuliia Svyrydenko said additional funds are needed to buy new weaponry.
According to Bloomberg's report, Ukraine is currently only due half of the around $75 billion needed to fund its defense against Russian aggression over the next 2 years. The current IMF loan of $16 billion will expire in 2027. Svyrydenko suggested to Bloomberg that her government does not expect the war to end in the next year and that a new IMF program is, quote, likely. She will also approach U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent to discuss new financial aid from Washington. Svyrydenko was Ukraine's chief negotiator of the so-called minerals deal and is thought to be well regarded by the Trump administration.
While on a visit to the United States, the European Commissioner for Defense and Space, Andrii, pledged that Europe will continue to increase defense spending. Kubilius went on to say that the EU will do so because it sees a clear danger of possible Russian aggression.
Times have changed because we in Europe are under threat. Putin is a clear and present danger. Russia is ramping up its war machine, is producing weapons around the clock. Russia produces the same amount of ammunition in 3 months as all NATO countries in 1 year, including the United States. It means that we Europeans need to ramp up our defense capabilities. That is what we are doing. Not only because Americans have been demanding us to do so since long ago, but also because we see a clear and present danger of the possibility of Putin's aggression. We are preparing ourselves to take responsibility, and for that we need to build our own capacities, independent capacities.
An informal meeting of European Ministers of Justice and Home Affairs will begin on Tuesday in Copenhagen. The gathering is organized as part of Denmark's presidency of the Council of the European Union. The session is scheduled to last 2 days. On Tuesday, the ministers are expected to discuss home affairs and on Wednesday, justice affairs. EU representatives responsible for border control cooperation, immigration, asylum, civil law, police and criminal justice are also attending this meeting. Such informal gatherings of EU ministers are normally organized by the country that currently holds the rotating presidency of the Council of the EU, which Denmark took over from Poland at the end of June. A Canadian energy company has made the largest oil and gas discovery ever recorded on Polish territory, identifying a major deposit in the Baltic Sea near the northwestern port city of Świnoujście. Volyn East, operated by Central European Petroleum, could produce up to 200 million barrels of oil.
Professor Krzysztof Galos, Poland's chief national geologist and a deputy environmental minister, said the new find could be a turning point for the Polish energy industry.
If this discovery is ultimately confirmed, the Volyn East deposit could become the largest deposit of crude oil and associated natural gas ever discovered in Poland.
Privately held energy company Central European Petroleum announced the discovery on Monday at the Volyn East well. These offshore jack-up platforms in the North Sea start at 9.5 meters deep and can reach depths of almost 3,000 meters. After the discovery, CEP CEO Rolf G. Skar said in a press release that
this is a historic moment for both Central European Petroleum and the Polish energy sector. Volyn East is more than just a promising deposit. It is a shared opportunity to unlock the full geological and energy potential of the Baltic Sea.
The Volyn concession, near the Szczecin Lagoon, spans 593 square kilometers, and this most recent discovery involves very large deposits of both oil and gas. Current projections expect up to 22 million tons of oil. The Volyn East discovery also included natural gas. Projected gas production from the site is currently expected to reach 27 billion cubic meters of gas, equivalent to around 5% of the EU's total annual gas consumption.
So every drop counts when it comes to security of supply, and every drop you extract from your own soil is the cheapest drop of oil or a cubic meter of natural gas you can get. So it is interesting how it will turn out.
While the find will not make Poland the new oil capital of the world, as the largest discovery of oil and gas on Polish territory, it could prove to be quite a windfall for the country. For TVP World, this is Randy Potts.
According to the assessment of European NATO commander Aleksius Grynkewicz, a major conflict involving Russia and China against NATO might break out in 2027. An official from the Polish Defense Ministry has confirmed that such a scenario is being taken seriously by Poland.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Last week, General Grynkewicz was quoted by the German outlet Bild. as saying that a Chinese attack on Taiwan could happen in 2027 and would be coordinated with Russia, thus creating the possibility of a global conflict. Therefore, NATO forces would have less than 2 years to prepare for such an outbreak of hostility. According to Maciej Samsonowicz, an advisor in the Polish Defense Ministry, these words should be taken seriously, as General Grinkiewicz's statement is not political but factual. Poland has been ramping up its defense efforts along with other NATO countries. Most recently, during a NATO summit in The Hague, an increase in defense expenditure to 5% of GDP of member states was approved.
In an interview with TVP World, Jovanka Jakubek-Lalik, associate professor at the University of Warsaw, discussed the issue of illegal migration in Poland and Western Europe. She said that the situation in Poland is not as serious as it's being presented on social media platforms, which has caused internal tensions.
Well, I think there is a huge difference between the situation in Poland and the situation in Western Europe, because Western Europe has been receiving migration for many, many decades, whereas Poland is part of Schengen for a much shorter period of time, and also migration is not that huge of a problem in Poland until now. The problem which is currently visible in Poland is the necessity to secure the border with Belarus from the east and also from the side of Russia, because Poland is facing some attempts to illegally cross the border from the side of the eastern neighbors, and this is important to secure the outside border of Schengen zone. But also we don't really see in Poland that many migrants, and this is why I was referring to this false news or fake news which are circulating in social media, because we don't really have such big problem with migration as those sources on the social media claim.
According to the Financial Times, the United Kingdom will have to pay the European Union a percentage of the value of any weapons acquired by the country through the EU Defence Fund. The plans currently under development aim to counter the escalating threat posed to the European continent by the Russian Federation.
In May, Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced that the United Kingdom would join the EU's new Security Action for Europe project, designed to boost military spending across the continent. Starmer said the British participation in the project would provide new opportunities for its defence industry. At the same time, however, London must compensate Brussels for its involvement in the scheme, which seeks to procure drones and air defence systems. According to one EU diplomat familiar with the matter, the safe regulation states there shall be a fair balance as regards the contributions and benefits of outside countries such as the UK.
On Monday, the British government imposed new sanctions targeting Russia's Shadow Fleet, a group of oil tankers crucial to the Russian oil sector. The move also includes sanctions on two key Russian firms, Intershipping Services LCC and Litasco Middle East DMCC.
The sanctions target 135 oil tankers, which have collectively transported over $24 billion worth of Russian oil cargo since the start of 2024, and play a vital role in keeping Russia's energy sector afloat. The British government said that the Intershipping Services LLC has been registering vessels under the Gabonese flag, allowing them to transport up to $10 billion worth of goods annually, circumventing international sanctions. These new measures come just days after the European Union announced an 18th round of sanctions against Russia, including further restrictions on Russia's oil and energy industries.
And so this is all the latest news for now. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Klaudia Czerwińska, and I hope to see you back here on TVP World for more news and features in just a moment.